Alright you guys, welcome back to another video. So for this video, it's more of an informational video. I said on the vlogs that I was going to make this sort of informational video. This video is about the skinny fat switch. So this is 5 mindsets that finally got my results after years of looking the same. So after years of frustration and mediocre results, I discovered that the biggest gains happen in your mind before they show up in your body, right? So this is a story of me breaking through my skinny plateau, not as a genetic freak, not as a fitness influencer, but genuinely just as a guy who figured out what was holding me back, right? So who am I? Why does it matter? So I'm someone who struggled for years looking average despite dieting, lifting, and doing everything that I thought was right in my head, right? I lived in the frustrating middle. I wasn't lean enough to cut, and I was not muscular enough to bulk. And I know what this feels like for you guys that are going through the same thing when you're putting in that hard work and it just doesn't fucking show. You're doing everything, and you're not seeing the results that you want, right? And this isn't a pitch. I'm just sharing that exact mindset shifts that changed literally everything for me, right? So the skinny fat trap, which is what most guys never see, is when you train consistently, eat clean, but you still feel invisible, shirtless, right? Everyone tells you to just bulk harder, cut deeper, but neither of these things will work for you, right? You look fine in clothes, but you don't feel like the guy who genuinely lifts. You just feel like someone who's just started lifting, even if you have multiple years inside of the gym, right? This is not a physical issue. What I realized is that this is not a physical issue, rather a mental framework problem regarding your own mindset, your own mental strength, your own mental capabilities that are within you, right? And the longer you stay stuck here, the more it becomes your personal identity, right? The longer you're in this phase, the more it becomes ingrained in you that you're going to be stuck here forever, which I'm here to tell you guys you can break out of this. So what I used to believe is that soreness was the same thing as growth. I chased the burn, thinking that muscle pain was the only sign of progress. I was eating clean, thinking that I was going to lose fat just because of eating clean. I ate healthy foods without understanding calories or how macronutrients shape your body, because they really do. And then I thought that more training, going to the gym 7 times a week, would just give me the results that I wanted. I spent hours in the gym thinking that volume was the answer to everything, when in reality it wasn't. It was never going to be the answer. And a big part of me just blamed my genetics. I'm 5'8", I'm not the best looking dude. I always blame my genetics. I was always coping with the fact that my genetics were never the best. And I blame my lack of progress on factors that I couldn't control. You cannot control your genetics. Just work with them, right? And looking back on this now, I realized I was training my body, but I was completely ignoring my mind. So as for the 5 mindset shifts that changed everything for me, it was number 1, that consistency will beat perfection every single fucking time. So I stopped jumping to new plans, new routines, and I just stuck to the boring basics that worked. That was, eating in a calorie deficit, tracking my lifts, tracking my food, tracking the visual mirror progress, spamming my compound lifts, not sticking to all this like bullshit fluff exercise that you see roided up bodybuilders do. That's not going to work for you guys, right? Number 2, the mindset shift that really helped me just focus on my everyday life was picking a goal and committing to it. I stopped floating around between bulking and cutting. I just went one direction. I went on a bulk and I let it get uncomfortable. And you guys have to be okay with letting yourselves be in an uncomfortable state. I was once told that the most successful people are the people that let themselves experience a wider variety of emotions. How the fuck are you going to get your best body if you don't want to be uncomfortable? At the end of the day, when you get that body after being uncomfortable, you will have a lot more to show for it, and you will be a lot more proud of yourself for what you went through to achieve that body. And others will feel that presence too. Not only do you want to walk in a room and show off your body, you want to walk in a room with that presence, with that pride. Everyone wants that. Number 3, it's that the feelings don't decide the day, right? You wake up and you can't let your emotions 5 minutes into waking up determine how your day is going to go. You just can't let that happen, right? So I trained and ate well on the days I felt low, not just the days I felt hype. If I woke up late, I still trained. If I woke up no breakfast, if I slept like shit, if I didn't have my subs, you cannot let that get to you guys. One off day is not the end of the world. Just get back to it the next day. Get back to it that same hour. Okay, you doom scroll for 5 hours. Okay, now you can go on a walk. Now you can hit the gym. Or you went on a cheat meal, fine. Just get back to it your next meal, adjust accordingly. Number 4 is that progress over fatigue, right? I began tracking my strength, not just how sweaty or sore I felt. The more sore you feel, that's not a good indicator of anything. How sweaty you are, yeah, that's a good indicator for effort, but effort does not always equal results. You could be putting in so much hard work, but if it's the hard work every single time, it might get you nowhere. If you're doing 3x10 of 55 pounds for dumbbell bench press, if you keep doing that week to week to week, yeah, you might be sweaty, yeah, you might be sore, but how much muscle are you gaining? You're not gaining any muscle. You're doing the same shit over and over, and you're wondering, why is my chest still flat? Because you're continuing to do the same thing without progressively overloading. Don't just chase sweat. Don't just chase soreness. Chase the numbers, chase the strength, chase the progression, right? That's what's really gonna get you that muscle. And number 5 is that confidence is a byproduct of standards. So I raise the standards of how I train, how I eat, recover, and just show up daily in my everyday life, right? This is beyond the gym. This is on an internal mindset level, right? If you raise the standards of how you train, how you eat, how you recover, and how you carry yourself, everything will follow, right? If you feel good outside of the gym, you're gonna feel good inside of the gym, especially if that's your safe zone. Right? If you recover better, or if you set your standard higher for recovering, then even on your lowest recovery day, it'll still be better than what you had it at before, which was down here. As well as training, if you set your standards super high for training, even if you didn't go all the way, you're still pretty dang fucking high than everybody else, and that's what you need. That's what you want. You want to strive to be better. You want to strive to better yourself.